Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Dubai, Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6. Yes, it's a double recap because you guys know in the summertime the social calendar is in full swing, so sometimes we're a little bit late with these recaps, okay? But both of these episodes were quite entertaining. Dubai is definitely picking up in the drama department. And let me just say that it is evident that Bravo wants Phaedra back in some capacity. With Phaedra making an appearance on episode 5 as Caroline Brooks's good friend, and then you have her on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, it's apparent that she probably will be back as a housewife in maybe season 15 or season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I have a lot of feelings about that. A lot of negative feelings because I never liked Phaedra. I always found her to be very rude, very nasty. I didn't like her reads. I don't know. I never liked her personality. And then what she did to Candy, it was just awful. But let me not go off on a tangent about that. Let's just hop right on into both episodes because you guys already know we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up episode 5 with Caroline Brooks, Phaedra, and Caroline's cousin having a lavish breakfast. Now, first things first, I thought that Caroline Brooks's cousin was Rick Ross because he looked just like him. We learned that her cousin moved out to Dubai as well, and she's happy to have some family ties in Dubai with her. Because I can only imagine how lonely that must be when you're in Dubai and all your friends and family are in the States. So Phaedra arrives. She has a very dramatic grand entrance. We learned that her and Caroline Brooks have known each other for quite some time, and they call themselves soul sisters. Now, it's evident that Phaedra is in her redemption arc era, because she's just so nice and so sweet. Even on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, she's a different person. So Caroline informs us that she's actually showing Phaedra around because Phaedra is thinking about buying an investment property in Dubai. And then we see Phaedra asking Caroline and her cousin if they would ever consider moving back to the States. So they're both like, no, not at all. We love Dubai, and Dubai loves Black people. They treat us like royalty here. Now, I know quite a few of you guys do live in Dubai. If you're okay, can you please let me know if they love Black people like Caroline and her cousin say? Because if so, I will pack my bags in a minute. So now Phaedra wants to know what's dating like out in Dubai, and Caroline says it's fabulous, but the only caveat is men are allowed to have more than one wife. But the only thing about that is he has to make sure that every single wife has the same exact lifestyle. Like wife number 1 and 2, they can't be dripped out in Chanel and Gucci and Fendi, and then have wife number 3, 4, and 5 be dressed in rags. Like everybody has to be dripped in Gucci, Chanel, Fendi, Hermes with a Rolls Royce.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
And then we also learned from Caroline that the first wife has to give her husband permission in order for him to have another wife. Phaedra was not here for it at all. She was like, oh, okay, I don't think so. And I understand that that is part of the culture and tradition. But as for me, I'm just not into sharing. Then Caroline jokes around that Phaedra can date her ex because he'll give you a good lifestyle, but he's a cheater. Then she goes on to add that it's expensive to cheat on her. Now my first thought was, but Caroline, didn't you say in the first episode that you walked away from your ex-husband with nothing? But then I saw her in the clubhouse a few nights ago, and so she clarified her statement. She said that she got nothing from her divorce, but she was dating another man after her divorce, and he was very rich, and so he cheated on her as well. So she made it expensive for him to cheat on her. And I said, oh, okay, because I was really confused by that. And it was funny when Phaedra said, well, that's good to know because usually I'm the one who's paying a settlement to a man. Now, Phaedra, anybody could have told you that Apollo was after you for your money. I never believed for a minute that their marriage was going to last. I didn't see the love in Apollo's eyes. I always thought that he viewed her as a sugar mama. He hit the jackpot. She was an older woman, with a great career, and he saw that as his ticket out. So now Phaedra goes on to ask Caroline what the plans are while she's in Dubai, and Caroline says that she booked a ski activity for all the ladies, and she's excited for Phaedra to meet all her friends. Now we jump to a scene that I have been very excited to talk about and dissect. The scene with Chanel Ayan going over to Caroline Stanbury's house. As we all know, they have finally made amends and they are trying to work on starting a friendship. Now, Ayan, I have to get on you a little bit because you know the house guest rules. When you come over to somebody's house, you can't come empty-handed. You gotta bring a dessert, a candle, a bottle of wine, just something. Ayan rolled up there with no gift. Now, I have a question. Did Caroline put some sort of clause in her contract that says that Sergio has to film every single scene with her? I don't get it. We rarely ever see a scene with Caroline Stanbury without Sergio. So while they're eating dinner, here's where the conversation gets very interesting and we really get some inside information about Caroline Stanbury and why she is the way she is. So Ayan is joking around about Caroline Stanbury having another child. We all know that Sergio wants a child of his own. And Caroline is so dismissive. She's like, I mean, I'll pop the baby out, but then once I do that, it's going to be a nanny and Sergio taking care of it because I'm done. It's apparent that Caroline is not interested in raising another child. She has her 3, they're almost grown, and she's not trying to start from square one. My whole thing is, I just don't see this marriage lasting because it's clear that Sergio does want another child and Caroline is past that. I think that it's just a big hurdle to jump over. And if I were Caroline, I don't think that I would have gone forward in marrying him. I would have said, it's clear that you want a family. I already have my family. It was fun while it lasted, but maybe we should part ways. Because it just seems like Caroline's not joking when she says, I don't want another kid, and Sergio will be the one taking care of it. So Ayan is taken aback by Caroline saying that, and then Caroline goes on to say how she's not affectionate, she's not lovey-dovey, and then we learn that she went to boarding school when she was only 6 years old. I was like, wait, what? 6? Your parents just sent you away? Hearing about the relationship that she has with her parents, doesn't really see them, they don't really talk, I really felt sorry for her. I have to say, I'm always oddly fascinated by people who aren't affectionate because I come from a very affectionate family. I'm very affectionate. If you meet me, it's evident. I'm a hugger. I'm touchy-feely. I'm always saying I love you. Like, that's just, I couldn't imagine not being that way. I notice a pattern in my life where people that I generally don't get along with, they're generally not affectionate because they generally think that I'm too much. I'm looking at them like, what's wrong with you? Like, there's nothing wrong with me. I could never be with a man who wasn't affectionate. Like, it just couldn't happen. And it's no shade to people who are like that, but I've noticed in my life, people who I tend to have friction with, they're generally people with personality types like Caroline Stanbury. So now they change gears in the conversation, and of course they bring up the drama between Caroline Stanbury and Lesa at Nina's party. So now Caroline is talking about Lesa was super intense and just super nasty, and how she felt blindsided about Lesa asking her why she did not attend her fashion show. I'm thinking, Caroline, you were blindsided? Like, the dramatics of it all. It was giving very much Karen behavior because Lesa asked you very nicely, why didn't you attend? Second of all, how was Lesa intense when you're the one who told her to go and suck your man's penis. Caroline, at the end of the day, this isn't Ladies of London, and these women are not afraid to check you on what you say. So I would tread lightly and not make any more comments like that. You were wrong. Just own it. But to sit up here and lie and say it was so intense, Lisa was so mean to me, it's like, girl, what? So now we get to the next scene, and it is the day of the ski event that Brooks has coordinated. Now, when I tell you, Brooks is very messy, and I don't like her. I try to give her a chance. We'll talk more about that in episode 6. But the way she was just so happy to tell Phaedra about all the drama between the group, it's like, you really get enjoyment out of all this, don't you? But anyhow, Brooks and Phaedra are getting dressed in their ski outfits, and of course we see Caroline Stanbury and Sergio appear. Once again, why can't Caroline Stanbury ever film a scene by herself? Why does she always need Sergio to be right by her side? I wonder if Caroline Stanbury is afraid to face these girls alone, and that's why she has him as backup, because it makes no sense. And Caroline Stanbury has such a nasty attitude anyway. It was clear that she didn't want to be there, because she kept reiterating how she's an expert skier. She skis all over the world every single year, and that place was beneath her. And it's like, girl, if it's just so beneath you, then why did you come? And when Lisa was getting ski lessons and she was going down the slope, and so Caroline Stanbury said, I can't stand her. I should have pushed her down the slope. It's like, you sound so hateful. I really hope that Lisa eats you up at this reunion. And we'll see if you're back for season 2. Because honestly, you don't bring a whole lot, sis. Now, I was screaming because Phaedra was actually funny. She was questioning Sergio and Caroline's relationship. She was like, oh, like you guys are together? And she was like, oh, so you're the son and she's the mommy? And then when she said, you know, I like them young too. And I said, Phaedra, you've been there, done that. Find somebody your own age or a bit older, because these young men are taking you for your money. So now we get to the last scene of this episode, and it is the night of Ayan's birthday dinner. Now, mind you, it's sort of her son's birthday dinner too, because their birthday is a day apart. So all of Ayan's friends are there, and we see, of course, all the ladies are there. Nina and her husband, Caroline Stanbury and Sergio, Lisa and her husband Rich, Brooks, the whole gang. So anyhow, they're enjoying the night, and Ayan starts asking Sergio about the wedding planning. So Sergio says that he's stressed because the wedding is in a few weeks, and their parents are going to be coming into town, but the tricky part is neither of their parents have met each other. So now Caroline Stanbury jumps in and says, oh my gosh, we're so stressed out. We're about to kill each other about these wedding plans because we got into an argument before we got here. So we find out that Sergio and Caroline can't seem to come to a compromise about their parents sitting with them at the reception. Caroline's like, look, I have friends coming in from the States, and I want to sit with them. I don't want to sit with my parents. And when Caroline was like, look, I have more important people that I want to sit with. Like, I don't want to sit with my parents. I was like, that's really sad. And when Sergio was like, look, like, I want to do that. It's tradition. And when Caroline Stanbury said, you know, it is traditional, but I don't want traditional. I don't even want to be married. And I was like, well, damn. You guys are already legally married. You're building this dream home together. Sergio's talking about kids. I mean, it's a bit too late, sis, to say I don't want to be married. If you feel that way, then get a divorce. And there's really no coming back from that, having your partner say, I don't want to be married in front of a group of friends, pretty much embarrassing him. Like, how do you deal with that? And when Caroline said, look, I only talk to my parents 2 to 3 times a year. We're not close. You know, it's just really weird that Sergio's close to his family. I wouldn't be surprised if Caroline feels a bit envious at the fact that her husband has strong family ties and she doesn't. Now, when Sergio and Caroline kept going back and forth, I was like, this is Ayan's birthday dinner. Why are you guys arguing and making it about yourself? Don't bring your drama and your negativity to someone else's special day. And that's where episode 5 ends. So now we jump into episode 6 with Ayan and Brooks doing some furniture shopping. Now, not a whole lot happened in this scene, but we do find out that Caroline Brooks is going to have a pool party and she wants all the ladies to attend. Then she says that her friends from Boston are going to be coming up too, and she's super excited. Now, I thought it was kind of strange when Brooks went on to say that despite the fact that her and Ayan get into it all the time, and she finds Ayan annoying, that they're like sisters and they love each other. And I was thinking, I'm sorry, but I don't want any relationship with anybody where I find them annoying. Like, I don't know, is that just me? But I was thinking, I honestly feel like Brooks is messy and she's just not capable of being a good friend to anybody. And we'll talk more about Brooks later on because she really pissed me off and I can definitively say that I don't like her. I tried to give her a chance, but overall, I just think that she's very annoying, a try-hard, the constant talk about how she's a boss and how much money she has. I'm sick of hearing about it. So now we jump to the next scene with Caroline Stanbury and Sergio and Caroline's parents. They are going to be staying at the gorgeous Raffles Hotel for the next week in preparation of their wedding. When I tell you the hotel was absolutely gorgeous. That penthouse suite that they were in, I need to stay there. They had a massage room, a steam room, just chef's kiss. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more stunning suite. We learned that Caroline Stanbury is the global ambassador for this hotel, so you know what that means. She's getting this for the free. If I have any subscribers who work at the Four Seasons or the Ritz-Carlton, can you please send me an email? Because I would love to be a brand ambassador. I spend way too much money there, okay? But I digress. I love W Hotels as well, along with the St. Regis. Somebody out there, hook a sister up. And it was low-key funny, but high-key sad, because as they were all touring the suite, I mean, Caroline's parents are so dry and stiff, they could barely crack a smile about it. They were like, oh yes, very nice, oh beautiful, oh stunning, charming. And I'm like, do you guys show emotion about anything? You're in this palatial penthouse, and that's the best you guys can do? And when Caroline said that her and her mom have a very grown-up relationship and they don't talk about feelings, I was like, that's just so sad. So they finished the tour of the penthouse, and now we see Sergio and Caroline talking, and Sergio's letting Caroline know that for these next 6 or 7 days, he's going to need them to get it in. And when Caroline was talking about how Sergio needs sex all the time, I was thinking, I mean, Caroline, you're with a man who is like 18 years younger. What did you expect? Again, I will bet money that their marriage will not make it to the 5-year mark. I just don't see it. They are the definition of being unevenly yoked. Now we jump over to the next scene, and it is the day of Nina's high tea. Nina has invited Caroline Stanbury, Lesa, and Ayan to get together so that they can hash out their issues because she is tired of them fighting. So everybody arrives to the tea, and Ayan kicks off the conversation by saying that it's unfair for Caroline Stanbury to lump Lesa and Ayan together because while they're best friends, they also have minds of their own. So now Caroline addresses her issue with Lesa, and she says that she felt like Lesa attacked her when they were at Nina's party. So I was thinking, come again? How did Lesa attack you? You started the drama first. You were out of line by saying that Lesa should suck your husband's penis. Again, very much Karen behavior. Because how do you start something and now you're the victim? And I'm so sick and tired of people using buzzwords when it comes to black women. Stop calling black women aggressive and stop saying that they attacked you, especially when you started the drama first. So Lesa is livid. She reminds Caroline what she told her at the party, And now Caroline's trying to feign ignorance like she forgot. So she's like, wait, I said that? I don't remember saying that. I mean, I didn't even eat anything. I was drinking all day and all night. So maybe I did say it, but I forgot. And you know, I have a naughty mouth. It's that British humor. I said, girl, everything except an apology. So now she finally apologizes, but then has the nerve to say that Lisa's passive aggressive. And again, I need y'all to understand what words mean, because Lesa was upfront. She came up to you directly and confronted you about what you said to her and told you that you were out of line. How is she passive aggressive? Now, Lesa, you're a bit too nice for me, because I would not have let Caroline get by with that weak apology. You can tell that Caroline has gone unchecked most of her life, so the fact that these women are really calling her to the carpet, she can't take it. So now we jump to a short scene with Ayan and Sarah, and they are at the Global Citizen Forum, and it's a platform to eradicate poverty. We see that Sara has been selected to be one of the speakers, and she's super excited. She says that she's just so happy to be living in her purpose. I said, I know that's right. There is no better feeling than knowing that you are walking in your purpose. So before the forum starts, we see Sara getting ready in her dressing room, and Ayan comes in to join her. So they're making small talk. Ayan brings up how she's going to therapy, and then Sara chimes in and says that hypnotherapy will be better for Ayan, and how she's tried every form of therapy and it's helped her a lot. So now Ayan brings up how the one part of her life she's unhappy with is the relationship that she has with her dad. And we all remember how Ayan was sharing some really sad stories about how her dad treated her when she was younger and how she still has been unable to forgive him. So now Sara starts getting really preachy about what Ayan should do, and you can see that Ayan is getting annoyed. And I know that Sara means no harm, but sometimes people don't want to hear unsolicited advice, you know? Like, you might have the best of intentions, but like I told you guys in my Atlanta recap a few days ago, I just stopped giving people advice, even if they asked for it. I got nothing for you, okay? All I have are restaurant recommendations and how to spend some money. So now we jump to the day of Caroline Brooks' pool party. Everybody's arriving. Her two best friends from Boston are there. And we find out that one of them was there and cut her son's umbilical cord when he was born. And I was thinking, where was her ex-husband? So all the ladies arrive, and when I tell you, Lesa looked amazing. It's just so funny to me how they'll have these pool parties and nobody will want to swim. Me personally, as much as I love looking cute, I also love to swim too. So now we see Brooks and Stanbury talking, and Brooks brings up how she wants to send her son to boarding school. Now, mind you, he's only like 9 or 10, and Caroline Stanbury was like, wait, what? Like, I went to boarding school from 6 to 18. I hated it. I hated my parents because of it. Like, that's a bad idea. You only have one child. Why would you want to send your one kid away? So Stanbury is going on and on about how it's very traumatizing and how it's just not a good idea. Then she goes on to say that Brooks is only doing this because Brooks thinks that that's what rich people do, send their kids to boarding school, but it's not the answer. Now, Stanbury, you know how I feel about you, but when you're right, you're right. And you know what they say about a broken clock being right at least twice a day. I said, please tell Brooks that boarding school for a young boy is not it. And I do agree with Caroline Stanbury when she said Brooks thinks that that's what rich people do. And I also think that Brooks is doing it for bragging rights. She wants to say, oh yes, my son goes to boarding school. Like the same way that parents will push their children to go to Ivy League school so they can have bragging rights. So they can brag to everybody and say, oh yes, my son or my daughter goes to Harvard, or, you know, they go to Princeton, or they go to Brown. You know what I'm saying? I think that she's doing it more so for her and not her son. Now, I thought that was very interesting when Caroline Brooks said, I mean, it's not like he sees me that much anyway. And I was thinking, wait, what does that mean? Does that mean that he spends half his time with his father since you guys are divorced? Or does that mean that you're just very busy, you don't see him that much? Like, I was confused. I was like, girl, I need some clarity on what that means. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you can't have a life just because you have kids, but I was just really like, wait, girl, what? And then we see Lesa, Ayan, and Nina talking. And so Ayan, I guess, was upset with Nina about something. I couldn't catch what she was saying about why she was angry. But anyhow, she confronts Nina, and Nina was not here for it at all. Nina starts crying. She's like, look, my dad is in the hospital with COVID. It's a severe case of COVID. He lives in Texas. I'm here in Dubai. I can't even see him. I don't know when I'm going to see him. And it's a lot of pressure from my family. If you're mad about something, save it. I don't want to hear it. I really felt bad for Nina. You can tell that she's very stressed out, very upset by this whole thing. So then to have a friend try to confront you about, she's mad at you about God knows what. It's like, girl, I don't have time to deal with it. And also put down in the comments, what exactly was Ayan mad about? Because I was confused. Sometimes Ayan can be a bit immature too, and it grates on my nerves. I mean, I still like her and all, but I'm like, girl, you gotta stop all this. So now we see a short scene with Caroline Stanbury, her daughter Yasmin, and her father out at dinner. And so they're talking about Caroline Stanbury and Sergio's relationship. And we find out that Sergio lied about his age when they met. He said that he was 31, but he was really 24. And then she goes on to say that when Sergio's parents found out that they were getting married, his mom was crying hysterically, and the dad offered him money to break it off. Now, in my opinion, I don't want to marry somebody knowing that their family hates me. I think that adds a lot of added stress and pressure for no reason. Like, who wants to deal with that? I'm not dealing with any crazy mother-in-law who doesn't like me or, is weird and obsessed about her son. I'm not dealing with it. I don't know how folks deal with that. And I have a smart mouth too, so imagine how that would go. And then come to find out, Caroline's dad has a story of his own because he was in a relationship like that before he met Caroline's mom. And he said that he fell in love with this woman who was 4 years older than him, who had 2 kids, and he wanted to get married to her. And his parents were like, absolutely not. If you get married to her, you will not be in the family business. And I was like, well, damn. And the way he was talking, it had me wondering, like, was that woman the love of your life? And you could see Caroline's face when she heard this story, like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know all that. He was definitely taking a stroll down memory lane. Like, those were the days. So now we get to the final scene of this episode, and it's a very explosive one, I might add. Brooks and her son are at their vacation house, and they're having a dinner with her 2 friends from Boston and Sara. Now, Brooks, you pissed me off several times during this final scene. Let me start off by saying, I do not like the way you speak to your housekeeper. I didn't notice it as much in the first episode, but the way you spoke to her in this episode, I said, no, ma'am. I don't like it. I didn't hear a please or thank you. Just demands. You spoke to her like she was nothing. I also didn't think it was funny when Brooks was like, yeah, because my friend Sarah's coming over. Obviously not you, because the housekeeper's name is Sara too. I was like, why was that needed? So now all the friends arrive and it's time for dinner. They're all at the table, including Brooks' son. And here's where things go left. They had some pasta, and her son was kind of playing with his food, and Brooks was like, okay, like, we don't do that. Now, mind you, the boy's little. I'm all for having table manners, but he's a little kid with a short attention span. What do you expect? So now she tells her son that it's time for bed, and she has her housekeeper tuck her son in. And so Sara says to Brooks that Brooks should be the one going upstairs to tuck her son in. And I was thinking the same thing as Sara, like, wouldn't you want to tuck your son in? It's not like her friends would have minded if she was up there for like 15 minutes and then came back down. But anyhow, Brooks goes on to ask Sara her opinion about sending her son to boarding school. So Sara is like, absolutely not. I think it's a bad idea. Why would you want to do that? And so Caroline goes on to say how it's because of the academics and the education. And I'm thinking, I mean, yeah, girl, but if he's in private school, he can get that same education. I personally stand by my theory of Brooks is doing this because it's a status symbol. Let's be real. It is a bit of a flex and a status symbol for parents if they're able to afford sending their kids to a boarding school. So now Sara says, Brooks, if you don't mind, I don't want to talk out of turn, but may I just say something? And Brooks says, sure. So Sara goes on to say, I honestly feel like you need to be closer to your son and more affectionate. So now Brooks goes on to say that that's not how she is. She's tough, and how she's all about kids being seen and not heard when they're around adults. And then one of her friends chimes in and he's like, but Caroline, your parents were very sweet. And she's like, no, they weren't. Like, you don't know them. My mom was very militant. So now Sara goes on to say that Brooks should be the one to break the generational cycle and be more affectionate. And Brooks's two friends agree with Sara. So at this point, Brooks is angry and she's getting very defensive at what they're all saying. I mean, I already told you guys I'm super affectionate. I'll be the world's most affectionate parent if and when the day comes. So it's kind of foreign to me to even think that I would be a very, strict or unaffectionate parent. Like, I can't see it. So I think I'd be more of a Sara as a parent when the day comes. But again, that's just me. But I just feel like, Caroline, if you ask for people's opinion, you can't be upset when they give it. So, child, the conversation goes left. Brooke starts screaming at the top of her lungs, and she starts cursing out her friend Ryan. I was like, Ryan is better than me, because I would have said, girl, here's what you won't do. I would have walked out of that dinner so fast. I understand that you might be upset, your feelings might be kind of hurt, but you're not going to sit up here and curse at me like I'm just some random person off the street. I was like, really, Brooks? This is how you express yourself with a full-blown tantrum? I was in shock. I was just so over it. I was like, Brooks is very unlikable, very irritating. I just wasn't here for it. And the episode ends with Brooke screaming at the top of her lungs like a nut about how nobody's going to tell her how to raise her kids. And it's like, but again, sis, you're the one who brought this conversation up. But y'all, that was my double recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.